You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon, welcome back. Today's Thursday, 20th day of February, 2025. Thursday means there is a members-only workshop tonight. So, members, have your questions ready, please. And if you've been on the trial and you want to be in the members-only workshop tonight, all you got to do is send an email to support@cfrn.net. In the subject line, put, "I would like to become a member." The body of the email, put your name, your phone number. We're not going to call you. We don't have time, but we will send you an email that explains everything it means to become a passport holder, everything that you get, and even a link that you can click to seal the deal, which means you'll get an invitation to be in the workshop tonight. So, anyway, thanks for joining us today, whoever you are, wherever you are. We're just glad to have you right here, right now. This is our second live broadcast of the day. Our first live broadcast each day is our live training room. However, that broadcast is private. Members only, and those taking their 1-week free trial. When Michael comes on in a bit, he will show you step by step how to take the trial. Take the trial today. We get your indicators up and running today. Your trial actually starts tomorrow, which is a Friday. So you're thinking, yeah, I probably should wait till Monday. No. Go ahead and do it today. You'll have access tomorrow. You'll have access to the indicators over the weekend to get familiar with them. And then you'll have next week. So, what did I do? Turn a 5-day trial into an 8-day trial? Okay. Pretty cool, right? Okay. When the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, take a 30-minute break and come back for this broadcast, which is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways you can join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com, scroll down to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, you get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. In that email, there will be a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email. It will automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there is you'll have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Now, there will be days, obviously, when you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but maybe you still want to join live. And there will be days when you're busy, can't join live, but want to catch up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is very easy to remember. YouTube.com, you already know that part, /CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting. But we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,700 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. Now, if you're new to the world of CFRN, it's a great way to get to know who we really are and how we've evolved over the years. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. Obviously, you're not going to watch them all, but poke around. Again, it will give you a good idea of who we really are and how we have evolved over the years. youtube.com/CFRN. This is the schedule for each afternoon broadcast. So we'll get going with our daily devotional, and we are beginning a new topic today. And today's topic, or this week's topic, or the next 3 days, is how to overcome negative thoughts. Now, this may not pertain to you, so you can just turn the volume down if you've never had a negative thought. But I would say most folks in the audience have probably dealt with it on occasion. Our scripture is Philippians 4, verses 6 through 9, and I'm going to share it from the Message translation. Starting in verse 6, don't fret or worry. Instead of worrying, pray. Let petitions and praises shape your worries into prayers, letting God know your concerns. Before you know it, a sense of God's wholeness, everything coming together for good, will come and settle you down. It's wonderful what happens when Christ displaces worry at the center of your life. Summing it all up, friends, I'd say you'll do best by filling your minds and meditating on things true, noble, reputable, authentic, compelling, gracious, the best, not the worst, the beautiful, not the ugly, things to praise, not things to curse. Put into practice what you learned from me, what you heard and saw and realized. Do that, and God, who makes everything work together, will work you into his most excellent harmonies. Again, Philippians 4, verses 6 through 9 from the Message translation. So, negative thoughts. We all got them. How do we start overcoming them? That's what we'll talk about for today. What's more challenging for you to do? Believe bad things about yourself or believe good things about yourself? If you're like most of us, it's much easier to believe the worst than the best. Negative thoughts can come from all directions. They might stem from hurtful words we've heard, memories of past failures, fears over uncertain situations, or worries about imagined worst-case scenarios. Many people also experience mental health challenges that amplify their negative thoughts, leaving them stuck in fear, self-pity, and hopelessness. So, what can we do? Here's 3 simple things. 1, seek wisdom from Scripture. You can dive right in with the short Bible verses included in this devotional. Number 2, ask God for help. If you don't know how to begin, we'll pray in just a minute. Number 3, lean into supportive relationships. Talk to a friend, visit a local church, or engage with people at church online. Remember, your worst thoughts do not define you. Who are you? If you ask yourself, your worst thoughts might tell you that you're unworthy, pathetic, weak, a hypocrite, or a burden. But God doesn't see you as a failure, not a mess up, not a burden. Instead, He sees you as His beloved child He came to rescue. He saved you and gave you a new purpose to help others get to know His love. When you feel trapped in negativity, remember your identity as God's deeply loved child. Then ask Him for help. No matter the source of your negative thoughts, God wants to hear about what you're going through. Nothing is too small or too big. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for your promise of peace that surpasses all understanding. Help us to bring our worries and requests to you in prayer with hearts full of gratitude. Fill our minds with what is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and praiseworthy, so that we may live in your perfect peace. Guide us to trust in you always, knowing that you are with us always. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray, and everybody said, Amen. Amen, and happy Thursday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. It's not pretty, but it's the facts. All right, starting here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. The Dow is currently down 595 points. That's well over 1.25%. The NASDAQ down 145 points. S&P 500 down 43. And the Russell 2000, our man in the street, down 30 points. Well over 1.25%. In the commodity basket, crude oil up 75 cents, trading $73 last. That's a gain of just over 1%, or $750 per contract traded. Gold up $21.20, trading $29.57.30 last. Silver up 37 cents, trading $33.42 last. That's a gain of almost 1.25%. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei dropped 486 points, 1.25%. Shanghai basically remained unchanged on the session. The Hang Seng, although it was slightly in the red, but not even a full point. The Hang Seng fell 367 points, which is over 1.5%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 49, the DAX down 118, and the CAC, of all things, up 12. The only green on the screen. It was a red day in Asia. It was a mixed day for the UK. And so far, it is a big red radio Thursday here in the US of A. So, let's look at the news and see what's behind this sell-off. US stocks pulled back today as investors scrutinized Walmart's earnings and trod carefully amid the fallout from President Trump's planned tariffs and policy shifts. Worries grew about coming headwinds for corporate America after Walmart put out a downbeat 2025 outlook, while the retail giant's profit and revenue met high expectations. Its shares slid roughly 6%. Now, there's an old trick where you can forecast a weak future over the coming quarters and year. And then when you beat that forecast, the 6% that you lost, I'm not saying this is what they did, because I have another side to that argument. Walmart is pretty much where America shops, at least on their feet. If it's on your seat, then you're probably shopping from Amazon. But if you get up and go to the store, chances are it's a Walmart, unless you live way out in the boonies somewhere. So every time I go to Walmart, prices are higher, but the place is packed, and there's still a long line at the checkout register. One looming challenge is Trump's tariffs, which have prompted the likes of General Motors to consider big changes to their business. The latest in his policy overhaul is a planned 8% cut in military spending, which dragged on Palantir's stock, PLTR. Markets were already warily waiting for Trump's next move after a clash with Ukraine's president put geopolitical fears front of mind. Gold hit a fresh record high as investors lost appetite for risk. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve's caution in light of White House policy dragged on the mood as investors lost faith in the prospects for future interest rate cuts. Now, let's talk about military spending. Okay. How much fraud, waste, and abuse are we going to find there? How many hundreds of billions of dollars? If you weighed out the waste, fraud, and abuse, you can actually do more with far less money. Think about that. Now, I talked about this yesterday, and it kind of sounded like a conspiracy theory, but it's not. How many aviation accidents have there been this year? Just off the top of your head, what do you think? 3, 5, 10, 94. Now that's according to data from the National Transportation Safety Board. There were 63 incidents in January and 31 in February, as of yesterday. How many deadly plane crashes have there been in 2025? Data posted by Safety Board reported 13 fatal aircraft accidents this year, including 10 in January and 3 in February as of Monday. On Wednesday, yesterday, the fatal mid-air collision in Marana, Arizona, brought the annual total to 14, though the agency's website did not reflect the latest crash as of Wednesday night. Now come on. What's going on here? If something doesn't stir inside of you, we've always been told it's safer to fly than drive a car. We also know there's a lot more cars on the road than there are planes in the air. But by percentage or per capita or however you want to call it, aviation accidents have kind of always been a rare event. Now it seems like we can't go a couple days without one. Delta said it would pay passengers on board the Minneapolis to Toronto flight that crash landed. Now remember, everyone survived this crash. $30,000 apiece with no strings attached. The company spokesperson confirmed the payment offer. The number of passengers who took up Delta on the offer is currently unknown. Well, if there's truly no strings attached, you'd be crazy not to take the 30 grand, because, if there's no strings, you can still sue the company if you want. As of Thursday morning, all 21 passengers who were taken to the hospital following the February 17 crash of Delta Flight 4819 have now been discharged, per Delta's website. None of the 76 passengers on the plane were killed in the crash. The payment offered to passengers, which would amount to $2.3 million if all passengers take the deal, does not preclude passengers from bringing lawsuits against Delta for the incident. Okay, obviously I hadn't read that news article all the way through. They said what I said, or I said what they said. The Delta offer is pursuant to international treaties, the Warsaw Convention and Montreal Convention, governing flights and incidents concerning injuries and deaths to passengers. Since this flight originated in the U.S. and was bound for Canada. As noted by the New York Times, airlines are required to make advance payments to customers to meet their immediate economic needs. In the event of injury or death, passengers must be paid at least $16,000 special drawing rights. I'm not familiar with that term. That's roughly 20 grand, which is an advance against the carrier's ultimate liability. The treaties state that carriers are not able to limit liability where damages do not exceed $151,880 special drawing rights, or slightly under $200,000. As of this morning, investigators have not revealed any new information on what may have caused the CRJ 900 jet's crash. I'm sure you've seen the video over and over. Well, who doesn't love a good James Bond movie, right? Well, Amazon's MGM Studios is getting creative control of the storied James Bond franchise as the company looks to deepen its position in the streaming wars. I wonder if the next Bond will be Barack. Huh. Hey, don't count it out. The studio, if he has time while he's getting his divorce, if that's true. The studio will form a joint venture to acquire the intellectual property rights from Barbara Broccoli. I didn't make that up. That is her last name, Broccoli. You know, like green stuff you eat to stay healthy. And her stepbrother, Michael Wilson. The pair, who have long held creative control, will remain co-owners of the franchise along with Amazon. Financial terms of the deal were not disclosed. With my 007 career spanning nearly 60 incredible years, I am stepping back from producing the James Bond films to focus on art and charitable projects, Wilson said in a statement. Therefore, Barbara and I agree it is time for our trusted partner, Amazon MGM Studios, to lead James Bond into the future. Something you may not know, Amazon purchased MGM in 2022 for $8.45 billion, including debt, as it worked to beef up its streaming service to better compete with the likes of Netflix and Disney. At the time, Wall Street analysts and Hollywood watchers praised the deal, which gave Amazon access to a catalog of more than 4,000 movies, including the James Bond franchise, and 17,000 TV shows like Fargo and The Handmaid's Tale. Notably, the deal only included distribution rights. Now, I made that comment about Barack and Michelle getting divorced because, well, it's what's in the rumor mill. Supposedly, and I found this very hard to believe, Barack has been secretly dating Jennifer Aniston from Friends. Remember her? She's issued a public statement, or it might have been on a late night TV show, where she said, "That's insane." I think she said she's only met him one time, something to that effect. Anyway, from Hollywood to Wall Street, the rally, according to Bloomberg, in Eastern European assets is coming to a halt as President Donald Trump's attack on the Ukrainian government unravels bets on a smooth peace process. Trump denounced Ukraine's president as a dictator while rebuilding U.S. ties with Russia, shattering any expectations of a deal that Ukraine can easily accept. The comments contributed to a sell-off in the currencies in the European Union's east, which had been on a tear until this week. Revved up stocks also saw a sharp turnaround. The rally was huge, which clearly shows that the market is more optimistic on a peace deal than politicians. You know, I'm all for helping somebody out, be it a person, be it a country. But as I mentioned yesterday, nobody can tell us on our side or Ukraine's side where the money went. I threw out a $100 billion figure yesterday, but I think it's closer to $200 billion. Maybe we don't even know how much we've sent them. And nobody wants to let anybody look at the books. Oh no, you can't see that. Very concerning. Also from Bloomberg, oil extended a string of small gains as uncertainty over global supplies lingered, while an industry report flagged another increase in U.S. crude stockpiles. Drill, baby, drill. West Texas Intermediate advanced to approach 73 a barrel, aided by a weaker dollar. That makes commodities priced in the U.S. currency more appealing. Crude has risen this week on the prospect that supplies may tighten as oil flows through a key pipeline were reduced and as OPEC considers whether to push back a planned production increase. Trading has calmed after a tumultuous start to the year, with prices locked in a narrow range this month as the market becomes increasingly numb to the array of changes that U.S. President Donald Trump is seeking to implement. I do want to say this: if you did not see the interview that Sean Hannity did with President Trump and Elon from the Oval Office, it was shown in two parts on Hannity on Fox News. Maybe you missed part of it, maybe you missed all of it, but you can see the whole thing unedited on Fox Nation. And if you don't have Fox Nation, I'm pretty sure you can get a free trial. It's certainly worth watching. You really get to know who Elon is and the kind of relationship that he and Trump have. The Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta said they expect the U.S. Central Bank will lower interest rates twice in 2025, though uncertainty around that projection has arisen. Fed Bostic said today on a call with reporters, while that's my baseline expectation, there's a lot that's going to happen that could influence that really in both directions. I wouldn't count on any. If we get one, just count it as a blessing. We spoke about Alibaba earlier in the week. They just posted its fastest pace of revenue growth in more than a year, as the Chinese internet pioneer, co-founded by Jack Ma, takes another step toward a recovery after years of turbulence. If you don't know the story of Alibaba, you should maybe Google it sometime. It's quite interesting. Jack Ma, along with three other wealthy Chinese investors, met in an apartment, had a discussion. Those men put up some money, and Alibaba was born. And it's one of the biggest companies in the world. They are forging into artificial intelligence along with everyone else. Their chief executive officer said Alibaba will spend more on AI infrastructure over the next 3 years as it did in the past decade. He went as far as to say that artificial general intelligence, or AGI, is the company's primary objective. We talked about Instagram yesterday. More news. Instagram is introducing a new way for creators to work with brands to make money by recommending products. Now, influencers, that's nothing new, but apparently it's new to Instagram. As I told you yesterday, or the day we discussed it, I just never wrapped my arms around it. On Thursday, Meta introduced an addition to its partnership ads called testimonials, which allows creators to get paid via written endorsements shared as comments on the brand's social media posts and advertisements. Didn't they learn anything from the Amazon debacle over those paid comments? And they're just being, while Amazon tried to hide it, that these guys are just being upfront with it. The new ad format is a move to monetize a practice that's already taking place across social media. Some of these high-profile figures, if they put up one post on X or Instagram and recommend the product of a certain company, oh, I love using Dove soap or whatever, 50,000, 100,000, even more. It's pretty hard to believe, but it's a fact. On Thursday, Spotify today announced that it now accepts audiobooks narrated using 11 Labs AI voice technology. Given that 11 Labs is currently among the most recognized AI audio providers, this new partnership is expected to boost the quantity of AI narrated audiobooks on the platform. I'm going to have to go there and just see how one of those sounds. I know that the AI voice technology is pretty doggone good. So, anyway. All right, on the home front. Logic 247, our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. We're in week 342. Over the last 342 weeks, we've issued over 19,000 individual handcrafted alerts. And we've averaged on a weekly basis 20% or less being stopped out based on market structure, and a very simple process that we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now, we had a holiday this week and market structure has just been blah, but we still managed. Now, I've put out additional alerts today, but when Valerie did the recap this morning, we had 19 total alerts issued for the week, still waiting on the outcome of 6, plus the ones I put out today, gave us 13 actionable alerts, of which 3, or 23%, would have been stopped out, again based on market structure, and that simple process we teach all passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now, it's been quite a comeback from Monday, or Tuesday. Tuesday we were at 100. We had 8 alerts and 1 stop out. So it went from 100% to 33% yesterday, and now today we're at 23%. Where will we be at close of business tomorrow? I have no idea. I just know that over 342 weeks and over 19,000 individual alerts, the average has been, on a weekly basis, 20% or less being stopped out. I think we had 1 or 2 weeks above 20%, and we've had weeks as low as 0%. So, remember, the logic alerts are designed to help you learn how to read a chart. Yeah, you can trade them, but you really should focus on learning how to read the chart, where to expect resistance, where to expect support, and how to find the windows of opportunity in between. Long before there was a Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts. They're different. The Logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is our night session, and vice versa. The concierge trade alerts, however, do not come out around the clock. They're posted as a static report, either shortly before or shortly after the Globex open each evening. So, Tuesday night I got them out 5 minutes ahead of the open. Last night I got them out exactly 1 hour after the open. This is Thursday session, but the Thursday session begins Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. And I put a note in the Telegram discussion group that the CTAs would not be out before the open. So I try to keep everyone updated so you know what to expect. Basically, what this means is every member and every trial member had every one of these targets exactly 1 hour after the open last night. S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, and silver. So let's go to our daily chart of the S&P and let's see what we see. Okay, we talked about this yesterday. We were expecting the market to turn down. Notice the step line is hooked to the right. It's in the process of crossing blue and climbing. But already, price came down almost to the top of that trend line. And remember where the BBC was yesterday? I said give it another day and the BBC will rise to the trend line. And so basically what we have here is support times 2. The top of the trend line and the BBC. Either one alone would be potential support, but we have 2 reasons. Now we're well off the low of the day. Okay, so how we close will be important. Do we close back up here where we have a chance of attacking the all-time historic high, or do we close down here? Now remember, the pullback to the BBC holds more often than it doesn't. BBC just stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. When price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices, higher prices. Now the pullback, it can spike the BBC, but it's where it closes. Okay, we held and we held and we held and we held. Gosh, how many days? I don't feel like counting them all. But you can see. So after holding that many times, and the pullback does hold more often than not, but eventually it always trades through. Eventually. Is this the eventually? Well, we saw blue and climbing turn to red and falling, then all of a sudden it turned back to blue and climbing. So we had a near miss here. So again, how we close today be very important to ultimately how we end up closing the week. Remember, institutional traders look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Has everything to do with account size. So I encourage you, whether you trade futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, spend 2 minutes with the daily chart of what you're about to trade, just to get a big picture view. A look over the shoulder of the deep pockets that move price before you start trading. Okay? Are the deep pockets buying? Are they selling? Or are they racked with indecision? Remember yesterday we had a doji at the beginning of the broadcast, but things changed a little bit going into the close. In fact, we had 2 side-by-side dojis at the beginning of the broadcast yesterday. All right, all alerts, the logic, and the concierge are created on the 30-minute chart. Nothing magic about 30 minutes. It's just a time frame I chose years ago. And if it's not broke, I guess you can leave it alone. On the ES, the vertical lines on all these charts separates today Thursday. Here's Wednesday. Back here's Tuesday. If I scroll back, you can see Monday, even though U.S. markets were closed. Price still did what it does. Went from zone to zone, back to the zone, back to the zone. When price rallies up to a weekly zone, we expect resistance till proven otherwise. When price drops to a weekly zone, we expect support till proven otherwise. We've published the zones every week for our members for the last 15 years. This was the opening candle last night. This is the 6 o'clock candle, the 6:30 candle, and this is the 7 o'clock candle. That's when the CTAs went out last night. We're above the BBC, so we expect higher prices. And what did price do? Ran right up to the zone overhead. From 61.53 to 57.5. So it missed it by 2 ticks. So that's over 4 points. You only need 2 points to get your goal for the day. Now when the market finds resistance, it's going to go look for support. Found it here at the weekly trading zone. The zones come out Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. When Monday's a holiday like this week, then they come out on Tuesday morning. So as you can see, price spiked the zone just enough right there to hit the short target, which is this bullish cross. That's when the blue line gets above the green line. When you have a bullish cross that leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good support. And it was. It sent price back up above the zone, and then we came back down and tested the same area again. And then we just consolidated in that area for quite a few hours. Red and falling turned to blue and climbing. That pushed us up here. And buyers just lost interest. Back we come to the short target. More consolidation at the weekly zone. Only 3 things happen at a weekly zone. When price gets there, 70% of the times consolidation, 20% of the time price gets rejected, 10% of the time price will slice through a zone like it's not even there on the 30-minute chart. When that happens, typically price will retrace back to the zone it sliced through and continue in the direction of the slice. So down we came today, all the way to this zone, which is not the lowest weekly zone. And we've just been pinging back and forth from zone to zone to zone to zone. Now the step line is on the verge of crossing red and falling. If that happens, we should get a retracement back to the BBC. However, we're printing a red candle. So right here you've got support times 2. If price can get through that, get through the zone, and get through these lows, then we're going to have a real big down day. But I think, just looking at it, price is probably going to just consolidate sideways into the close. What happens here will be important to the big picture. Now the Dow really got hit hard. This was the open last night. We had blue and climbing overhead. When blue and climbing gets overhead, that means potential resistance because it's probably on its way to becoming red and falling, which is bearish. So we got to the zone, did some consolidation, attempted a rally, made it back up to this high. No, we failed to make it to that high, which is a sign of weakness. That pushed us below the BBC. We hit the short target. Consolidated there for hours, and then the bottom just fell out. Now, you see how the step line's starting to angle to the right? Okay, this is the lowest weekly zone this week for the Dow. So the step line's angling. If the step line crosses red and falling, then we would expect a retracement back to the BBC. That's a huge distance. Price is trying to overcome potential support right now, trading through the black step line. So the next area for potential support would be right here. So a nice trade might be something like 4100 to 44080. 20 points go for the day. On the Russell, here's where we opened. Went sideways, ran into red and falling, which is bearish. Okay, We're below the BBC, so we automatically expect lower prices. Came down to the zone and consolidated for hours. Okay. Red and falling turned to blue and climbing right here. So we get a leg and a retracement. The pullback to the BBC held. And then we stopped just shy of the zone. Bearish cross. When you have a bearish cross that leads to an extended move, and that wasn't that much of an extended move. But as you can see, where the red line got below the green line, that area, resistance, got tested 1, 2, 3 times, and then finally, here come the drop. Step line is attempting to cross red and falling. Now, price has already attempted to rally up and failed. So, the step line hasn't crossed yet. If it does, we anticipate a retracement back to the BBC. Does it happen every time? No, very few things do. Anytime somebody tells you they got something that happens every time, always, 100%, holy grail, run, okay? It doesn't exist. It can't exist. It defies the laws of science, physics, even God. On the NQ, here's the open. We're below the BBC with red and falling overhead. So what do we expect? Lower prices. That's what we got. Right down to the weekly trading zone. And these are the zones that were published Tuesday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Normally it's Monday, but Monday was a holiday. So here's support at the zone. We get a little bounce. We come back to test the zone again, and then we consolidate at the zone, remember, 70% of the time. And then European Open, we got a little bit of a rally. And it took us almost up to, there's the bearish cross. That's where you should be expecting some resistance. And basically you got it here, you got it here, and you got it here. Okay? It's the first time up that you should always expect resistance. Often on the second or third attempt, price will overcome it. Then we get this drop at 9. This is the 9:30 open. That is one big candle. Okay? Buyers came in here, bottom fishing, got us back up to the zone, resistance. When the market finds resistance, it will go look for support. Found it at the zone. Support sends us looking for resistance, which we found at the zone. And now we've got support times 2 right here. The step line's trying to cross red and falling. But if you notice, it is already angled back down. So price may just cut through there like a hot knife through butter. You got potential support here, here, and then back to the zone. Crude. This was the open last night. We're below the BBC, so we expect lower prices, and lower prices we got. Okay. We're looking for support in this area right here, and that's what we got. It's right there with that step line, cross blue and climbing. It's an important price, important area. Lines right up. Buyers came in, took us all the way back up through the BBC to the zone. And then we got a retracement back to the BBC. We reached down and touched that short target. But the pullback held. And now here we are. We've taken out yesterday's high. Briefly. But we're now in the process of retracing. And we've got support times 2 right here. So we'll see if price can get through there, make it back to the BBC. this could become a bearish engulfing candle. So if that happens, we could see decidedly lower prices. We still have two markets, gold and silver, but we will get to those a little later in the broadcast. Right now, Michael's going to give us a recap of everything that happened in the live training room this morning, and then do some live trading on the TradingView platform. Then I'll come back, we'll take a look at gold and silver, and wrap things up with our good word for the day.
Excellent.
Okay, Michael, looks good.
All right, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, the 20th day of February 2025. Now, if you have taken a free trial with us and you want to go here to mytradingIQ.com and click on the purple button right here. All right. Now, when you take a free trial with us, there is no credit card required. So just click on the purple button. It's going to bring you to this registration page where all we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. Down here at the bottom, you have the opportunity to give us your Ninja Machine ID, which you can do if you want to use Ninja charts. We don't have the indicators that we're using to make the trades that we're doing right now on Ninja, but we have the old school stuff there if you want to look at that. You should give us a TradingView login ID. If you don't have one, you should go get one. Okay. If you don't have TradingView, then you can go here to mytradingiq.com, click on trading platforms, go down to TradingView right here, and watch the video. Watch that video on TradingView right there. And that will get you the ID that we need. Now, the ID is actually going to be generated for you. And you can create when you have an opportunity. I think you have 3 opportunities in a lifetime of an account to create an ID. And whatever you're logged in as, when you hover over the upper left-hand corner like this, whatever you're logged in as, that's the ID that we need. All right, that's what we need. So that's it. Let's look at the spreadsheet. Now, I've been off all day today. I started out with 2 stop outs, so I had to get through that and then get back to the goal. It took 31 minutes this morning to get the goal because of that. But I feel like something's been off all day. Even right now, I still feel like something's off. But anyway, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 20th day of February 2025, and I made 138 ticks on Q, 2 ticks on Russell. We lost 28 ticks on gold, and we made ticks on the ES. That put us at $770 per contract this morning. Today took 31 minutes and 10 trades to get to $1,000 per contract, and that was with 10 contracts on. And we took a total of 32 trades this morning. So on a month now, we're at $12,520 over 11 trading days, averaging $1,138 per contract per 2-hour trading day. I'm just looking at this. So we have 6 trading days left this week. All right, 6 trading days left this week. If we are averaging $1,100 a day, we'll just barely make it up to 20,000. Well, we only had 7. We're going to have 17 trading days in the month, so it's not that bad. We're now at $44,697 on the year, over 31 business days, averaging $1,441 per contract per 2-hour trading session. If you do the 24/20 blueprint this morning, set us back some in the hourly rate because we took a half an hour to get our goal for the day. Half an hour and 10 trades this morning. Just seemed like things were off today. Is Brian D in here? Let me just check it and see, because he had sent me an email basically saying that things were off. But anyway, if you do that, you would be on your second contract right now because you're in the second month, and you would be at $6,855. All right, if you started with 1 here, $3,700 in the first month, and then right now another $3,000 for this month. I'm going to be averaging $1,269 per hour. You would have only had to work about 5.5 hours so far this year. Okay, 5.5 hours this year. That's pretty sweet. All right, let's get into the actual trades. Kind of had my number today. I went to a 7 range because the numbers at the beginning of the day on the 7 range were really nice. When I looked at it, we had a bunch of 7s all through here. When I switched, we had all these 7s in here. And then as soon as I went to 2s and 3s, and so I just stayed with it. I stuck with it. We were on a 9 range here when I stopped out on that one. I went ahead to break even on them, but when I stopped out on this first one right here, we were on the 9 range, so I got minus 15 ticks on that one. And then I went to the 7 range, and I was getting it back a little bit at a time, very little bit at a time. 2 ticks there, got me to minus 15. Then 5 ticks there, got me to minus 8. The break even, and 1 tick there, got me to minus 7. And then I made a mistake on this one, that put me back to minus 17. The break even, 1 tick there, got me to minus 16. Then I stopped out again. That was just a plain old stop out. There was no change in that. That got me to minus 26. Then I got a plus 1 to minus 25. A plus, that was my big trade right there. I went from 25 to minus 18. So I had 7 ticks on that, I think. And then I stopped out again to minus 28. And that was it. Now, during the break, you can see all the numbers here, the 7s and the 4s. So anything above 4 means I would have gone to break even or gotten some profit in the trade. Now, anything below 4, you have to take a look at and see, did the next bar go in the direction of the trade? If it's a 0 like this and it didn't, then it didn't. But this one right here, where I got a 1 on this, the next bar did actually move and give profit potential. There were some pretty decent opportunities after the morning session was done. You can see in here, there's a lot of opportunities where it would have given you a chance to get it. Now that is using, they're not using the divergence trades, they're using something else. But if you're just doing a divergence trades, you can match them up to whatever the numbers are. There are some places in here where there were divergence trades, like right here would have been a nice trade, but this would not have been a trade. So anyway, that was gold for us. That was gold for us this morning. The Russell, we ended positive on the Russell. We were down for a little while on it. This is our whole day here on the Russell. We had a huge trend move right over here. We only got a little tiny bit out of that. I got 2 ticks out of that. Right, then I stopped out there. That put me at minus 23. Then plus 20. That put me at 3, and a plus 5. That put me at minus, and a plus 5 put me at plus 2. And that's what we ended up. Okay, and the ES now. Let's go all the way over here on the ES. All right, here we go on the ES. Trade was a break even. The next trade was a stop out. So on the ES was our first trade that we stopped out on of the day. We had to print minus 10 on that one. And then we had the plus 2 on the Russell, and then we stopped out on the Russell. That's how I ended up with the 2 stop outs in the beginning. But we had a minus 10 right there, and we had a break even over there, break even there. And over here, we finally had another trade. We got 10 ticks on that. Got us to even. Then we had a plus 12 over here. That got us to 12. Then up right there, got us to 20 and a break even. And there's 2 trades I didn't put in here apparently because we went from 20 to 24 and then 24 to 28. So we had 2 more trades in here. Picked up 4 ticks. And that was now during the break. You can see so if you're doing the trend trades, you get rid of the slingshot down here. There's 2 ways. One, aggressive, get into the oversold like that, and you just buy the open of the next bar, so you go long right there. The other is wait for the trader to pull out of the oversold, so you go long at the open of this bar instead of the open of that bar. It'd be the open of that bar. Okay. Either way, that trade there worked out. Now over here, if you did the same trade, you would have had a break even going long on the aggressive one, and you would have had some profit going long with the conservative one. All right, over here, if you did the same thing, you would have gone long on the open of this bar, and that, well, the open of this bar went nowhere, so it would have stopped you out. If you waited for the conservative one, you would have gone long on the open of this bar, and that too would have stopped you out. Okay, and then you change directions in here, so you would have been going short on the open of that bar, which would have given you profit on the bar, which also would have given you profit. And you'd be going short right now, aggressively, you'd be going short right now on the ES. Let me see if I can put that on. It's probably too late. I'm not filled up. You would have been going short right here at 113 is what you would have been going short at. Now that's aggressive. If you were going to do conservative, you'd wait for it to come out of the oversold, right? You would wait for it to come out of the overbought and then sell it when it comes out of the overbought. Okay, that would be the conservative trade. going with the trend when it comes out of the overbought. All right, that was the yes today. So we ended up on the yes with 28 ticks. On the NQ, we didn't have all that many trades on the NQ. We ended up pretty good. We had some decent sized trades there. And we started out with a break even. Then we picked up on our first trade 24 ticks. On the second trade, another 24 ticks. So we got to 48. Then a break even, then another break even. Then we went from 48 to 110. I don't know how I did that. That was because I had a 75 tick target on it. Didn't get the whole 75 ticks, but it did go to more than 48. Went 48 to 110, then break even there from 110 to 138 there. So we had a trade right there, I guess. Yeah, 28 tick trade right there, 7 points. And then I didn't do anything else. You can see there were some nice trades in here. This one right here was a divergence trade, long. This was a divergence trade short right in here. I would have taken that. You would have gotten a break even, more than likely. And this would have been a divergence trade long right here. That would have been probably a stop. It didn't look like it went enough into profit to stop to break even. And this would have been a divergence trade short. That would have ended up being a break even trade right through there. If you took the long following up right there, you would add profit on it. A long right here, you would add profit. And that was it on the NQ. This is the NQ 50 range, and you can see the numbers in here. They're not all big numbers. There wasn't a lot of follow through today, right? Not a lot of follow through today. It's just sorry sometimes. So the markets. All right, so now we can trade a little bit. Just to remind everyone here, in here, there's a partners meeting tonight. Partners meeting tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. If anybody has any questions to first in the partners meeting, if you email them in ahead of time to support@cfrn.net or support@mytradingiq.com, we'll try to get to those questions first in the meeting so we can address all of that stuff at the beginning. Yeah, if you don't know what it takes to become a partner, send an email to support@cfrn.net or support@mytradingiq.com. Partner info in the header. I'll make sure you get it. Everyone who was on that trial should have gotten an email yesterday. Probably get a follow-up. Telling what it takes to become a partner. Okay. So right now on the NQ, this was actually a long trade right in here a few minutes ago on the NQ. It looks like it went enough to get the stop to break even. Well, it did. It went 14 ticks. So it did go enough to get the stop to break even. This was a short trade here on the NQ. Actually, it wasn't. Sorry, I take that back. It was an aggressive short trade with the trend if you're using the trend trades, because then you don't have to deal with upline. All right, went 21 ticks in a profit before it pulled up. Right, the selling rate here at the close of that would have been your conservative trade right there. All right, and that is pretty much. So we have 20 minutes left in here, guys. 20 minutes. Let's see what we can get in those 20 minutes. I switched to the 50 range today because I didn't like what the 31 range was showing this morning at the beginning of the session. And let's just see how the 31 range ended up doing. There's a lot of chop right there. It probably did pretty well through that. Now the 31 range stop's going to go 4 points in a profit to get the stop to break. I mean, the price is going to go 4 points in a profit to get the stop to break even. So this one right here. Well, let's put the slingshot on and see if we had divergence. Yeah, we had a divergence trade right here that would have worked out. We had a divergence trade right here at the open of this bar. The open of this bar, that would have worked out. We had a divergence trade right here at the open of that bar would have worked out. A divergence trade at the open of that bar A divergence trade at the open of that bar. Let's trade the open of that bar. Well, during the break, it looks like it would have worked out pretty well. The rest of the morning session, we had switched to a 50 at the beginning. But if you look through here, now this says 7. That wasn't actually a trade, though, not a divergence trade. This would have been a divergence trade here. I think that would have been okay. This right here would have been a divergence trade at the open of that bar. Worked out. This would have been one right here at the open of that bar. That, it would have been the beginning of all this chop. So you would have been short at the beginning of all that chop. And right here, you might have been able to get your stop to break even, maybe. Otherwise, it would have eventually stopped out way over here. That would have worked out fine. This would have worked out fine. This would have worked out as a break even. This right here, you would have been selling the open of this bar, selling the open of this bar, this bar. That would not have worked out at all. This one we took. This one right here, the long trade there would have worked out okay. I don't know. There's a lot of opportunity on the 31 range. If you go to the very end, there's not one that triggered right here right now. Okay, but I'm going to go back to the 50 because that's what the DOM is set up for. Leave the question box out. I hadn't even looked at the questions. James, the 21 tick was a white with a white trigger that produced 37 ticks. The 21 tick. You talking 21 tick range? Oh, this one right here. That's what you're talking about. That right there would have produced 21 ticks. Okay. That produced 37 ticks. Okay, it says 21. That was right here. I don't know. I can put it on. Just put it on. There it is, right there. Okay, it was a double white. It had this one here, and it had that one right there. So the first trigger would have been here. It gave 21 ticks. I'm thinking about getting rid of that. This part here. The midpoint moves. Shifts. I don't know. I'll do some research on it. There was some stuff that I had figured out last night. The double white, the second one produced 37 ticks. Okay, that's good. Right in here, yeah. All right, so the first one gave 21, gave 37. That's what you're telling me. Okay, I got it. I got it now. See down here at the bottom, this one right here would have been the first trigger when the white went into the overbought like that. Would have been the first trigger. And then he took 21 ticks. And then on the next trigger would have been the flat white right there in the overbought. Would have been the next trigger at the beginning of this. That's what he's saying. Okay, I got it. It took me a while. But yeah, it's a pretty simple process when you're using that. I did have one guy say at one point during the day, I'd have to go back and look at his email, but at one point during the day, he was having, I'd have to go back and look at his email. I'm not even sure what, he didn't show his time frame. I don't know what time frame he was working on. But again, we're not trying to make 500 ticks a day. You know, you get in there, you get your goal for the day, and you quit. So was there an opportunity in here to be able to get your goal for the day? Well, yeah. About 20 times. I mean, even in this span right here from 10:30 to here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Just about 5, 6, 7 in this span. Now, of the ones that didn't get it, this one right here only went 5 ticks into profit. It was a long trade, so it would have been long on this bar right here. So that would have been a stop out. This right here was a short trade, so you got 9 ticks available on that one. That one, I don't know that it would have stopped out before it went down on the next bar. This one right here would have been 11 ticks available on that one before it pulled back. That would have been a stop out. 7 ticks, that was a short right here. 7 ticks, and only went 7 ticks in profit before it pulled all the way back up there. That would have eventually stopped out. So there were some stop outs today. That one, that one. That one would not have been, because it eventually went down right there. This one would not have been. Actually, but this would have been a short right here. Yeah, this would have eventually stopped out. Yeah, there were more stop outs than normal today in this. But again, 50 ticks, 39 ticks. The goal for the day is there again and again and again. Oh, the problem. Matt James was just saying he's got what he's doing. He's doing this on a 250 range. And I guess starting today, over here, there was one here that was good for 218 ticks, one here that was good for 177 ticks. So 2 trade. And 218 means the drawdown on that. It's about 32 ticks. And 177 means the drawdown on that was 73 ticks. 73 ticks. Yeah, 73 ticks. But if you're doing it with a micro, you know, you do it with 2 micros, and then be 218 bucks there and 177 bucks there. If you're doing it with 1 micro, it'd be half that. But you know, if you're doing it with a regular, if you're doing it with 1 regular contract, that 218 bucks right there is 1,000 bucks. Okay, that's Matt. He just texted that to me on my phone. That, you know, there's not that many trades in here, and this goes back. This is the beginning of the week right here, right? Well, this is the 13th, 14th. This was last Friday, right here. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trades since last Friday. If you don't have a lot of time to trade, and it certainly gives you some pretty good indications in there. Let's go back here to our 50 range in my world. I know Matt's, he's working while he's doing this, so putting on the trade and walking away from it is something that he's probably more likely to do than me. Let's see. Put all those things back on and see what we've got going here. Right, we're not in the oversold, we're not in the overbought, we're not in the oversold, and they're both coming out of it together. So we don't have any trades here right now, but all right. Don't think you got the email for the meeting tonight. You have to be actually. You don't get that. Well, first the email doesn't go out until like 7:30 tonight. But then you have to be part of the. You have to join into that meeting tonight. It's only for active partners and passport holders.
Members only workshop since 2008. Every Thursday night.
Yes.
Almost every Thursday night.
Yes. Almost everything. Well, I mean, this is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And the holidays usually mess it up. But it's almost every Thursday night. But it's been a lot of years. We've been doing that for a very long Thursday nights. I think we ever moved it off Thursday night, did we? We always kept it on Thursday night. We moved it from 9 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
Yep. Yep, that's the only change we made.
Thursday seemed to work out pretty well most of the time for most people. And, you can plan on it. If we schedule it, keep it the same, then everybody can work around that. If they can. And if they can't, they can email stuff in ahead of time, and we'll still discuss it. They just won't be there. It'll get recorded, and we'll still discuss it and answer whatever it is. So that is, for anybody who doesn't know that, if you're a partner and you can't make it to the meeting, but you want to discuss something, send us an email and tell us what you want to discuss, and we'll do it. What's it called? Abstentia. We'll discuss it even though you're not there, but we'll record it so you can take part in the discussion as though you were there. Right, there's a long hair on the NQ. Sorry. Here it is. It needs to go 5 ticks into profit because I'm on a 50 range. So it's going to go from 43 up to 48. I don't think it's done that yet. 48.25. That's 48.75. We're pretty close to getting up there. Now, the way this is coming together here, this should actually go down, not up. If you look at the way this is, right, the price action that we have going on right here. This was our leg down. This is a 50% retracement, so we should have a leg down right here. So I came 1 or 2 ticks away from, now the actual entry should have been here at, the actual entry should have been there at 125. So I was off by a couple of ticks. If I hadn't been off by a couple of ticks, I'd had my stop at break even on that. I'm still in it right now. But if I hadn't been off by a couple of ticks, I would have my stop at break even and I'd be out of that. But what it should do right now, just so all on the same page, is it should do this right now. That's where it should go. So the counter trend trade that I just put on there, if I gotten a better fill, I'd had my stop break even on that. Did I stop out on that yet? Not yet. It's almost there. Almost to my stop. All right, that's a big stop out. The bottom of this is right here at 24, and then figures my stop is at 28.75. So it's probably going to stop me out. What I drew here was this leg down should repeat itself down to here. Okay. What it's trying to do is get down to the swing low right here. And if it does get down to the swing low, it's pretty much going to stop me out to the tick. But this right here was a 50% retracement of the move down. Okay. This was the move down. This was the retracement. So this should be the next move down. That's what it should happen. All right. I'm still in it so far. Here it is. Still in it so far. But that's what it should do. Now it may find support right here. If this bar ends up closing up, that would be a little bit bullish for me because it should probably try to do a 50% retracement to this leg, a leg within a leg. So that would give me up here to 49.25, and I'm in at 43. So that'd be just enough to get my stop to break even. Again, if I'd have gotten a better interest, my stop would have been a break even and wouldn't be discussing this. Here it is. It's almost back to break even for me. It's got to get up to 48.75. 48.75. Okay, could make it up there. We'll see. Right here. See any of the big numbers above it? Not many. But I'll be ready to move it if we get the chance. Okay. Now, did you guys understand what I was saying a second ago about the retracement of this? This is going with the trend. I gotta get ready. There it is. There it is. Stop to break even. I'm actually just gonna lock in 1 point. After all that, it almost stopped me out. So now look for it to get up here. All right, 69.25. My first area would be a 50% retracement down, which it's getting to right now. So I'm going to lock in. I was just going to lock in another point, but it just took me out with my 1. All right, so let me just go through the logic behind that. My whole stop trailing thing. For those of you guys who didn't know, I created a thing about trailing stops the other day. I created a PDF about trailing stops. And this 50% level, when you get a leg, the 50% level retracement is steal. Okay. And typically when I am in a trade and I'm trailing my stop, when it gets to that 50% level on a retracement like this, I trailed my stop close. I didn't do it this time. I was going to do it, but I didn't do it this time. But I trailed my stop close because this is where it's usually going to hit some resistance. All right. Now, if it fails to stop there, it's going to do 100% retracement. It'll go up here. Okay. That's what it should go up there and find resistance again. If it goes through that, well, then you have a trend change. Okay. If it doesn't go through that, you got some good chop in here in the middle that you can trade. But if it does go through that, you have a change. So I was looking for this to happen. It had to get down below this level here to confirm that that was going to happen. It hasn't done that yet, right? Up in here right now. But it's good tradable chop. You know, though it almost stopped me out right here. I probably would have had to break even sooner. I ended up getting just 1 point on it. But now that it's done this is a 50% retracement of this leg right here. You know, if I were to draw that on there for you, these are backwards from the ones I normally use. The 50% is the green one right here. This is your 50% retracement right here, the green one. Oh, I make that like the other ones. This is probably something in settings here. I think these are all different, I think. That's probably how. I don't know. I like the way the other one does it better when I'm logged into the other account. But remove that for now. So I expected it to find some resistance here. And this is like a little bit of a trend with the trend, right? If it pushes down now, breaks down below here, it should break down below there and do another leg length like that, which should probably down here where I was thinking it was originally going to go. Okay. All right. So wait. Let me just say this. If you haven't taken a free trial with us and you want to go here to mytradingiq.com, homepage, tradingiq.com, click on the purple button right here. There's no credit card required for the trial. If you click on that purple button, it will bring you to this registration page. Fill out the right, get your indicators indicating on your desktop for you and give you all the information you need to come to the room with us in the morning. All right. You almost have a short opportunity here. Yeah, Dan, that meeting has been going on for for years. Doing since 2008. That's when we started doing that, and it's like family time. Get together and discuss things. Now we need this to get up into the overbought right here. That hasn't happened yet. Okay. And I don't know that it's going to happen. What are the other markets doing? Do we have trades anywhere else? No. All right. Well, it's time to wrap. All right, guys. Well, it is 1:30. We got 1 point out of that. I don't think any of the trades off, did we? We got 1 point out of that one. We'll see what happens. It's in some chop right here, some pretty nice chop. The way this is right here, it's got a low right here of 37.25. So 12 points above that would be 49. If you read about here, about 50 is where that bar is going to close. So that's going to give you a shorting opportunity. If this bar closes up right here, shoot that into the overbought and give you a shorting opportunity. And this is some pretty nice chop. So I would right there. That didn't do it. It didn't do it. Man, I thought it was going to go into the overbought. I was going to say I would take that happily, that short right there, because this is perfect chop. But sadly, it let me down. Anyway, let's get into this. All right. This morning, today, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, the 20th day of February 2025, we're up 138 ticks on the NQ, 2 on the Russell. We lost 28 on gold. We made 28 on the S. So put us at 770 per contract on the morning session. Today took 31 minutes, 10 trades to get to $1,000 bucks. Total of 32 trades this morning. On the month now at 12,520 with one contract. We're at 44,600 with one contract. All right. All right. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Wayne is ready.
I am. Recap of the morning session.
Today it took 31 minutes and 10 trades to get to $1,000 with 10 contracts.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, we have covered all. Oh no, we still got gold. Let's take a quick look at that. Gold and silver. Covered everything else. This is where we opened last night, above the BBC with blue and climbing. And it was this candle right here where the CTA targets came out. And in that one candle, you ran right up to the target. Let's see, it opened at 2951.1 and ran all the way to 56.5. So let's just call it 51 to 56. That's $500 per contract traded in that one 30-minute candle. Now, target is based off that high. The next resistance came right here. Then we get a retracement back to the VBC. The pullback held, holds more often than not. And then we got a nice long move. Now, that put gold up at a new all-time historic high. And then price got below. Blue and climbing, the step line crossed. When that step line crosses from the left side to the right side, you expect a retracement to the VBC, and along with red and falling, we traded through. And notice how that long target, once we traded through it and pulled back to it, it became support for a bit. Bounced us up to the VBC, the pullback held. So we got a leg to the downside that took us all the way to the short target to the tick. Okay. Now you see right there where red became blue. That was the target. That's an important price, important area. And we hit it to the tick. That bounced us all the way back up to the VBC where we've been consolidating. We got blue and climbing here, so price is trapped. You got resistance right overhead, you got support right below. I doubt we'll consolidate sideways all the way into the close, so price should make a break in one direction or the other. Now, you got to embrace all possibilities, so could it consolidate sideways into the close? Absolutely, it could. Silver, here's where we opened. Price dropped to the zone. When price drops to a zone, we expect support. Price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. So we did slightly trade above this zone. Step line crossed. Here we go back to the BBC. And with red and falling, it took us below. And you can see that that long target, after we traded through it on the pullback, it became support. Sent us up to the BBC resistance. Now again, price is trapped. Got resistance right overhead. Support right below. So you gotta wait for price to prove itself and show which direction it really wants to move in. Now, remember when we talked about the daily chart earlier, we're closer to the low of the day than we were at the beginning of the broadcast. The daily BBC and this trend line, we talked about this yesterday and the day before, that an excellent spot for the market to find support, if it's going to give us another leg to the upside, would be right there. Now, at the time we first talked about it, the BBC was back here, but I said if we consolidate sideways, then the BBC will rise. It has risen right to the trend line. So if we sell off into the close, we got high impact news tomorrow. That will be an indication whether the institutional traders are willing to carry home their positions overnight with high impact news on the horizon. To become a member, send an email to support@cfrn.net. In the subject line, put "I want to become a member." In the body of the email, just put your name and phone number. We'll send you an email that explains what it means to become a passport holder. And there'll be a link you can click if you decide you want to become a passport holder. You get 2 hours of live training every trading day. It's an interactive environment. Live trades and live markets, while you trade along in your demo account so that you can qualify to go live, and you ask every question that pops into your head. Because it's a mechanical methodology, pretty soon you'll run out of questions. You'll go to ask a question and realize you already know the answer. And every time that question gets asked, the answer is always going to be the same. No subjectivity. Along with 2 hours of group training every trading day, you get private one-on-one mentoring, no extra charge. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder, are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETF, doesn't matter because price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. Also, as a passport holder, you'll get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock, the concierge trade alerts the second they're published every evening. Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you'll get the weekly trading zones, and once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. And you'll be able to attend the members only workshop that happens every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. This is 2008. Except it used to be 9 p.m. Eastern. Now it's 8 p.m. Eastern. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. You also get the golden key that opens the private channels in Telegram. We got public channels, we got private channels, we got all kinds of channels. But as a passport holder, you'll have access to them all. Just send that email to support@cfrn.net. In the subject line, I want to become a member. And you could be in the members only workshop tonight. Okay, our good word for the day. Never stop learning and growing, part 2. Part 1 was yesterday. Proverbs 8:11. Wisdom is far more valuable than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with it. To keep learning and growing, you must recognize these things. Number 1, successful people view learning differently than unsuccessful people. Joshua learned from Moses. Timothy learned from Paul. Who have you chosen to learn from? American author Sidney Harris wrote, "A winner knows how much he still has to learn, even when he is considered an expert by others. A loser wants to be considered an expert by others before he has learned enough to know how little he knows." It's all a matter of attitude. it's truly remarkable how much a person has to learn before he or she realizes how little they know. My mother-in-law, rest in peace, that was one of her favorite sayings. The more I learn, the less I know. And you know, that perplexed me for years. It really did. I never asked her what that meant because I just, wanted to be the cool son-in-law that understood. But eventually, I figured it out. Number 2, nothing is interesting if you're not interested. Equality is free. American author Philip Crosby writes, there's a theory of human behavior that says people subconsciously retard their own intellectual growth. They come to rely on cliches and habits. Once they reach the age of personal comfort with the world, they stop learning, and their mind runs idle for the rest of their days. They may progress organizationally, they may be ambitious and eager, and they may even work night and day, but they learn no more. The Bible says in Luke 2:52, Jesus increased in wisdom and stature. He didn't just grow physically, he grew spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. It's a tragedy when you let yourself get into a rut and never climb out. You miss out on the best that God has to offer. By contrast, teachable people are completely engaged in life. They are enthusiastic about things. They're interested in discovering, discussing, applying, and increasing. So never, ever stop learning and growing. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.